Hey everybody, Chris Lukey here, founder of The Ignition Factor. I want to light a fire in your belly so strong, I want to fuel your purpose, your passion, and your mindset. So I'm honored to be here with you, and I thank you for joining me on this 5-part Mindset Masterclass. Here we are on video 3. Before we move on, I just want to recap for you this experience that we've been on together, and I want to give you a greater understanding of this mindset thing. And we started out by saying that mindset is the most important thing that we need to be incorporating in our lives right now. Mindset right now is more important now than ever. Why? Because we live in a world that wants to keep us busy, not efficient, not effective, not productive. We live in a world right now that wants to keep you distracted. So mindset is really important because 95 to 98% of our day is run on a program. Your day runs on a program, my day runs on a program. So it's really important to understand how this extraordinary technology between our ears works because nobody gave us the manual. But in this 5-part series, I'm delivering you the manual, right? So we started off in video 1, we started talking about mindset and understanding what it really is. Mindset is really about brain change. It's about permanently changing the patterns of thinking that are not serving you well in your life, probably for years or decades. And what we want to do is we want to change those patterns of thinking so that this inner critic or that inner voice actually becomes your greatest inner champion. We want to change these patterns of thinking to help you move forward instead of holding you back. And we want to help you create what we call a powerful, limitless life. And we want you to create a life by design instead of by default. So in lesson 1, we talked about your thoughts are not your thoughts. There's this thinking that's always taking place, that the brain is in survival mode, right? Your brain always wants to keep you safe and in familiarity. So since your brain is always in survival mode, it's trying to interpret what's happening on a moment-by-moment basis. And it's always throwing off opinions, what it thinks about your current reality. So it's throwing off opinions about, what do I think about money? What do I think about relationships? What do I think about other people, places, things? What do I think about this business, right? It's constantly saying, what do I think about this? But the problem is, as it's forming opinions, those opinions are based on past habits, past beliefs, past decisions. And a lot of these past things may not even be true or congruent to how you want to live, and it creates an inner conflict, right? So we have to understand that your thoughts are not your thoughts. And once we start to acknowledge this on how the system of your human being works, how the system of your brain works, you can take a step backwards and ask yourself, do I agree with that belief? Do I agree with that thought? Where is that thought coming from, and is it true, right? So we can start questioning things once we understand our thoughts are not our thoughts. And then in video 2, we started talking about a particular pattern of thinking, which we call limiting beliefs. And we said, well, what are limiting beliefs? Well, they're not some kind of marshmallow, fluffy, white cloud stuff. You're not crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. They're just limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are a series of mental codes or programming in your brain. We call them paradigms. Simply put, habits and beliefs that are stored in the back of your subconscious mind, right? They represent beliefs, and beliefs are a memory of something and the meaning you gave to a past experience. That's what it is, simply put. And that past experience has created a belief that is limiting. It no longer serves you well. So you're not crazy. There's nothing wrong with you, but you may be having beliefs right now like, I'm not good enough. I'm not as far along as I should be. Relationships never work out for me. My parents, people don't love me anymore. Or a lot of us are thinking right now, am I the only person in the world who hasn't figured out my mission, my purpose, or my passion yet? And the truth is this, no, you're not. So many of us right now have limiting beliefs. So many of us don't have clarity, and it's okay because nobody gave you the manual. That's why I put together this 5-part master class. None of these things may be true, but they have become your reality because the brain is a goal-achieving machine. And we're going to talk about more how the brain works and its technology later on in this video. But at every level, conscious and subconscious, you're trying to create whatever it is that you believe. Whatever it is you assume to be true, your brain will always find evidence to prove you right. So let's just say, for an example, in grade school, we all had to do public speaking. And then now you grow up, maybe you weren't good at it. And you believe now that you are a poor communicator. And every time you have an opportunity to communicate, literally the function of your communication system will be deteriorated. You won't be speaking clearly. You won't be hearing clearly. You'll become a poor communicator, not because you are, not because your DNA when you were born said that there's some test and you don't have the communication gene, right? Chris didn't come with the communication gene. You're a bad communicator because you believe you are a bad communicator based on a past experience. And that's how powerful your brain is on every level. So the question you might be asking yourself is say, okay, Chris, I get it. I've got these limiting beliefs. They don't serve me well. They don't feel good. The brain is a goal-achieving machine. So I'm working against myself when I believe something that doesn't serve me well. Beliefs are decisions based on a past belief. I decided to believe something, whether it's true or not. Are you just saying that I can decide the opposite of what I've been believing for a long time? Like, can I really just decide that I'm going to build a successful business in 12 to 18 months? Can I really just make a decision that I'm going to attract an extraordinary team? Can I really make a decision that I don't know how, I don't know when, but I'm going to meet the man or woman of my dreams? Can I just really decide? And the answer is yes. Because you have a conscious mind. And your conscious mind has the ability to think. It has the ability to create. It has the ability to accept or reject, right? This is how powerful. We are powerful creators. And on a moment by moment basis, you do not have to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. You have the ability to choose. You have the ability to decide. And then when you make a new decision, we re-enroll the brain in achieving that. And so this is where most people and most entrepreneurs get stuck, because the question is, do I not need to know how? Do I not need to know how I'm going to create a $100,000, $200,000 business in the next year? The answer is no. You do not need to know the how, because you've been gifted with a technology that acts like a GPS in the back of your brain. It's a psychocybernetic mechanism. It's a servo mechanism inside of your brain that will figure out the how for you if you are willing to give yourself permission to make a new decision. Have you ever saw the video of Will Smith jumping out of a plane? This was about 5 or 6 years ago. I remember this video, and I actually just used this video as an example in a 5-part masterclass mastermind I did with my private group. Will Smith was jumping out of a plane. And he was so passionate about telling people that you can just decide. You can just decide that it's going to happen. I'm going to do it. And I thought back then, when I didn't know about this extraordinary technology or understand it, I thought that's BS. You can't just make a new decision. But now that I understand the science behind a decision and how important making a decision is, I know it now. It's not some fluffy white cloud woo-woo stuff. I appreciate the fact that there's an extraordinary power behind making decisions. So this is what I want you guys to all understand. The moment that you make a new decision, the moment that you decide, for example, that I don't know the how, I don't know the when, but I'm going to create an extraordinary organization. I'm going to start the business. I'm going to impact lives. Whatever that is for you, whatever you decide, you create a mental image of that thing immediately. Because we think in images. We think in pictures. And whatever the most dominant picture that you hold in your brain, it will find evidence to prove you right. Where focus goes, energy flows. So when you give yourself permission to decide, you imagine the future of that thing. So picture this, somewhere along your life, you decided that you want to have an extraordinary relationship with a particular man or woman of your dreams. Don't you start imagining what that relationship would look like? Or you decided that you're going to go after a certain career or a certain job or to buy a certain thing. You start imagining yourself what it would look like. But you didn't worry about the how, right? And this is where so many of us got it backwards. The success formula, wealth creation, health, happiness is be, do, have. You have to become the thing. And when you become the thing, when you future vision, when you create a vision, you start becoming. When you become the thing, you start doing the thing. And when you start doing the thing, you'll have all that you want. But so many of us have it backwards. We think we need to have the answers, have the money, have the time, have to figure it out. When I have this, I will do that and become the person. It's completely backwards. It's be, do, have. In fact, you don't need to know how to accomplish it. You need to decide, and then the how comes, right? So I'm going to explain to you the power of this decision. The moment that you make a new decision, you start imagining what your life will look like. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between imagination and reality. So here's a study, 2 studies that were done, 2009 at Harvard. Harvard brought in a bunch of pianists, and they physically played the piano. And while they were physically playing the piano, they had monitors hooked up to their brain, and they documented which parts of the brains lit up when they were physically playing the piano. Then they brought the pianist back in, and they imagined them playing the piano. And they didn't play it. The pianists were imagining themselves playing the piano, and the exact identical parts of their brain lit up. Then they did a second study with athletes. It was a basketball team. They actually were measuring, same thing, the parts of their brain when they were physically doing certain skills. Then they brought them back the next day, and they sat there and they imagined themselves practicing those skills in the identical parts of the brain. So this goes to prove that your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between imagination and reality, right? This is really profound. And I want you to understand this. This is why so many great thinkers tap into their power of imagination. People think imagination was for little kids. We stopped imagining, but Disney built an entire empire out of it, right? Everything in your life was created twice. Look around. The computer, the phone, the clothes you wear, the house you live in, the car you drive, everything was created twice through someone's imagination. First, it was created in the imagination of their mind, and then it was created in a physical form. Thoughts do become things. And your brain is a goal-achieving machine, right? So the moment that you make a decision, there's a change in your brain. You create a memory of something that hasn't happened yet. And that's the change in your brain, and it starts giving you the ideas, the thoughts, the concepts, the inspiration on the how. The how comes after you make a decision, because the decision creates the image in the brain, and your brain is a goal-achieving machine, and it always wants to bring those images into reality. So now, when you make a decision, your brain creates an image, you begin to start thinking in alignment with producing the outcome. But you have to make the decision first. So 3 extraordinary things happen when you give yourself permission to make a new decision. We go, okay, I see how this works. I have not been achieving or creating the life that I want. I've been feeling like crap. I have all these limiting beliefs. I can't make new decisions, but I am a powerful creator. And part of this powerful human operating system is I can just make new decisions. And the moment you understand that, the moment I make a new decision about money, about starting the business, about my career, right? You feed your brain that image of that thing, and the universe's greatest technology starts working in alignment with you to bring it into physical form. So the moment you make a decision, three incredible things happen. Number one, you start to have thoughts and ideas that are in alignment with the decision. Before, you had thoughts and ideas that were in alignment with not being good enough, not being a good enough communicator, not enough time, not enough money, or any other examples that we used. But the moment that you make a new decision and give yourself permission, the moment you allow yourself to imagine the outcome, your thoughts and your ideas now start flowing in alignment with that decision. The how becomes revealed to you after the decision. Second thing that happens is this. With the power of a decision is that it changes your perception of reality. So the fact is, we are only experiencing 8 to 10% of the reality around us right now. There is just too much stimuli going on at one point in time for the brain to actually process all of this stuff on a conscious level. So the 8% that you're experiencing is based on what? It's based on the decisions that you have made from the past. So maybe you bought a new car. Has this ever happened to you? And all of a sudden you start seeing the car everywhere on the road, right? That part of your brain is called the reticular activating system. That's the narrow band of experience that you're paying attention to. Well, when you make a new decision, all of a sudden now you start paying attention to the things around you that will allow you to bring that decision into reality. The third incredible thing that happens is you activate the power of coincidence. This is so much larger conversation, but your brain is an electrical and vibrational technology. We think on frequencies. We live in a vibrational world. Power runs to and through you and creates a vibration in your body. We as humans call it a feeling, right? And so the quality of the structure of your brain, the meaning, the images that you've created, it creates and dictates thoughts and vibrations in your body. And what it does, it creates coincidences that we experience in our life. So thoughts do become things, right? So now you're more in alignment with producing the outcome that you're trying to produce, right? Which maybe I want to be a better person. I want to have a better business. I want to have better relationships. I want to have more money in my bank account. You're aligned with it because now your entire neurophysiology is working towards making that image a reality. You are on the same frequency. That's how cell phone works. How is it that you could be here in America or North America and call somebody on the other side of the world and they pick up the phone? You're on the same frequency. If you didn't have their number, you couldn't call them, they wouldn't pick up. If you're listening to Rock and Roll FM, you can't hear AM opera. Why? You're not on the same frequency. And that's how your brain works on a practical level, right? Have you ever been thinking about somebody and all of a sudden the phone rings or you see them at the grocery store? Right? Or how about if you desperately needed a certain resource and all of a sudden the resource shows up at the last minute? Or it's the complete opposite. Your worst fears you've been thinking about and they become realized because that's the reality of what you're thinking. And so this is the kind of conversation that hasn't happened for a lot of us, right? The power of imagination, the power of decisions, right? So to experience freedom in your life, to experience a powerful, limitless life, you have to make new decisions. So what I'd like you to do now is I want you to give yourself permission to make new decisions. Because the truth is this, your current results, your current reality are based on past beliefs, past habits, past decisions, past patterns. If you want to create a new reality, if you want to eliminate the inner conflict, you have to start making new decisions, new beliefs, new habits that are in alignment with the life that you want, right? Right? So I want you to give yourself permission to make new decisions. Start identifying the limiting beliefs that you have, that you're not good enough, that there's not enough time, that you're not as far as long as you should be, that business is hard, money's hard to make, it's difficult to find good people, it's difficult to trust people. All these things are just part of that internal chatter of limiting beliefs and decisions. And when you realize At an unconscious level, all these things are just decisions that you have been making. And as a powerful creator who uses this extraordinary technology, we are goal-achieving machines. So all you have to do is make a new decision. So take a look at your limiting beliefs. Take a look at the things that you've identified in video 1 and video 2. Realize they're decisions and ask yourself, what new decisions am I going to give myself permission to make? And when you make a new decision, everything's going to start falling in alignment. The how will show up. The people, places, and things will be in alignment, right? So let me ask you this. What new decisions are you committed to making? I want you to spend a moment or two after this video and ask yourself, what would your life look like if you made a new decision, right? So all of this sounds really good when we say it fast. And now you have a framework for identifying limiting beliefs, realizing their decisions, give yourself permission to make a new decision. And when you make a new decision, visualize how your life will transform. But in video 2, we're going to go deeper into this, right? So I want to see you on the next video. Thanks for joining me. Look out for video number 4.